We're going to talk about the opportunities for people to become professional sportsmen, whether you're youth, development, because I know there's a stigma out there that says, oh, you got to be a young 13, 14, 15, 18-year-old before you can actually go into professional sports, which isn't true because these days you're still seeing 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds getting opportunities to develop and start a career late in life, if you want to say that. And so I've got a good bro coming in, and Nigel's going to talk from Talent Locker's perspective and his perspective and give you the down low on the opportunities that are available for people and how Talent Locker is helping people achieve this. And we've also got Russ in here as well, who's been in that representative role before. He's gone through the trainings and he's got lots to share experience-wise, what was and what is today as well. So let's just bring the lads in. Let's hit the shoot, or what do you want to call it?
Thanks for having us, mate. Appreciate
awesome.
being back in studio. It's good.
I need some good-looking people in here, bro.
Yeah, well, that's why I brought him.
I'm just bringing the standard down. The question I was saying before that they want to ask is, what message do you want to get to people out in the next 30 minutes here?
Mate, I just want to, obviously from Talent Locker's standpoint and mine personal, is to start talking about the development pathways that are available to young athletes, young aspiring athletes, but not only just, athletic based, but then jobs in sport, the environment, keeping it healthy. I think everyone wants to play professionally, but then, not everyone's careers go to the way the script they want it. And then doesn't mean you have to leave the ecosystem of sport. You can stay in by working in sport. So that's what sort of message I want to get across today.
Massive opportunities, though.
Absolutely.
We need to touch on that. Talent Locker, if you haven't heard about Talent Locker, you need to know about it. So we're going to dive into that. Russ, and yourself, same thing, man.
Yeah. So personally, I'd like to get a message across in the sense that I wish there was kind of more information for these younger athletes to kind of, if you're looking for a goal, to have a bit of structure. Because when I grew up in rural Ireland, you kind of just turn up, do the sport.
Bro, you don't look much Irish, by the way. I was thinking, I was a cousin from New Zealand when he first came
No, half Irish. So I'm mixed. So I'm half French. Quarter French, quarter African, half Irish.
African.
Had to get that to get those genes in.
Bro, your fingers are pretty long, eh?
But so from my personal experience in rural Ireland, it's just kind of turn up, as you get better, you just get better, and that's it.
Yeah.
There was no kind of letting you could end up here. You know what I mean? And once I got to the point where I could get a scholarship for college and help me through college, my education, it kind of became a little bit more real. And I guess if I had known earlier, you know what I mean, rather than just turning up for these sessions with no aim, but it's kind of just for the sake of this. I wish I'd been kind of switched on, tuned in a little bit quicker. I think there's not really
support.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's not really obviously you don't want to pressure children too much, but I think a nice kind of balance between a guidance role in teams maybe, or you know what I mean. I don't think that's really capitalized on at the moment. So
well, let's get into it then, because then that's kind of a good segue for Talent Lockers looking to. Well, actually, you explain it, bro. Because
well, look, it's good that Ross touched on a few of those key points. Talent Locker is here as an education platform to educate not only young developing athletes, but to help their parents on that journey. I know as we all grew up playing sport, like you said, it was turn up and, do the things that are done weekly in training, then go and play. And maybe there might be a representative team that goes, right, there's selection on offer, maybe come and try out. But again, even in the early 80s, 90s, the parents weren't really educated on how to get to that national selection, or if there's an international selection. There wasn't any segue from sport. It was come and play sport in your local area and let's see what happens. You know?
Yeah.
Now we know that development pathways through education into college, into high school, and then into top teams is available. But still, I know from my experience working in this region in the Middle East, parents don't know where to start. And Talent Locker is there to help that side of it, where we can say, Mum and Dad, look, if we start looking at these options early from the ages of even when they start playing 6 to 8 to 9, have this in your mind. If I spoke about this yesterday, Serena Williams exists because of who? father. Tiger Woods exists because of father. And there's probably a lot of mothers out there who've, you know, done the same thing. They're just two that come into mind. They are greats because, yes, we know history shows they were tyrants to their kids. But sometimes that needs to happen because children don't see the foresight and parents go, I see something special, so I'm going to really hone in on this. Now, you couldn't possibly be that way now because of the wokeness there is, but you still need guidance. Parents need to step in and go, I'm going to give you the guidance and get you to trainings and maybe take you interstate to trial because I have done the research and homework where these opportunities are available. And this is where Talent Locker makes it easy. Come to us. We can help with that. We have opportunities. We're not promising contracts. We're not promising that they get a start anywhere. We're promising that there is an opportunity here for you to explore, to then take that pathway into your hands as that child starts to grow through, because they can't themselves, but someone needs to be liable for that opportunity and make headway with it. So that's where a Talent Locker can really step in and help with those opportunities.
So then that's kind of, when we're going to go further into that one, but before that, what was for you then? How did you get into representing? How did you try to get somewhere? Was it the aim to start with, or just you fell into it because your good looks, bro? What got you there?
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, for the Irish side of things, you just literally get a selection email. That's literally it. Like, you run a certain time, top 4 get selection for relay panel or relay trials, or.
But did you have to attend something in particular, or it's not like you're down the track doing it yourself with a stopwatch, and then all of a sudden.
No, but you go to an official competition. You might go to Leinster's, which is small fee of like €10 for an event. You make it to the finals, then you can go into the nationals, and then if you place, so you get the top 4. Depending on your times in that age category, they'll pick the top 4 and you get selection emails based on that age category for that season.
Just take a step back from that, because then before you went to the first club you joined that actually you got coaching for, right? Was it that like you found, you're fast, you're running away from mum or dad, or from your dad from my beating, bro, he's going to go after you, and then you...
My mum got the old bat to more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
But,
so what got you there? What made you take that first step? Because that's, as a young athlete, it's like, you love doing something, and then either the mum and dad recognize it, or did you just want to do it? Or
I can thank my mother definitely for instilling... I wouldn't say discipline, but an understanding that you need to do some things. So she would always get my brother to either to the park when we were very young infants, keep an active lifestyle. Super, I would say not instilling, instilling on kind of health and just being aware that you should move more, So it wasn't even a question of, I don't want to do, I'm going to do this. Like, there was no discussion. I think that's you see more now with parents is given the option. When a child is an option, I think red flag. Do you know what I mean? There is no option.
How was your reaction?
Pardon?
How was your reaction to that?
You don't even, as in my reaction to how I
you
look.
Personally, like, you're going to do this, and you're like was it something you wanted to do? Was it like your passion, or you were just pushed or supported?
No, you don't even question us at that age.
What's the other option? We know as Islanders the other option.
Yeah.
So fun.
So like literally even for dinner at night, my mum cooks something, you're gonna eat it or you're gonna go hungry. Like that's it. There is no other option.
Do you have jandals in Ireland?
But so for me it was playing rugby, and again, you don't really. I didn't consider I want this to be something. So I played it for like 8-9 years, and then during the summer, to keep fit for rugby, mum said, you need to do something. You're not going to sit around at home all day. So athletics.
Yeah.
So I started winning medals, just turning up, and said, okay, we can do something here. So my mum made the effort driving me into athletics. And then trying to balance the rugby and athletics was a little bit difficult. And that's when you had to make the kind of decision at that kind of keystone age, maybe 14, 15, to put your effort into one basket, So that's just how it went.
What was it for you then? What was the difference between going for athletics over rugby? One was you're more skilled, you got more accolades. It was just because you're the friends, the social circle.
I think it was the pure reliability on my self efforts. I like the team dynamics, and it's good to have that camaraderie. And I think at a young age, it's really good to work as a team base. But at a certain point, you have to realize your own efforts are only going to do for you. You know what I mean? They're only going to you're only going to benefit yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of teams, you can have great teams where you'll have like 3 or 4 players keeping everyone else going. You know, so when you're on the track, your efforts show fully. Have you done the work or not? There's no hiding. And I really appreciate that. You know, so all my effort was on display. You know, so there's no.
You mean through training, or you mean through the results that came on?
Through training itself, just hardship, just turning up, eating well, you know, sleeping well, doing the non-teenage thing of not going out or partying or going to house parties, you know, that kind of way. So I took pride in that discipline and where it took me and where it led me. So it was kind of like a self-fueling kind of role I got into.
How did you know? How did you know you're on the right track?
You just get faster and faster and faster.
Faster.
Times.
That was it? Was it about speed?
You just see progression. And each year you get a little further.
Was it about any progression, or was it about like, okay, I know that someone else is doing this, so I need to be this quick, or someone else is doing that, so I need to be that strong, or I need to be this stable, or I need to be this whatever?
Well, I had one very good coach. I had 2 very good coaches, and actually, I think they're cousins, Jennifer Dempsey and Pat McCartney. They were the main forces kind of pushing me in that right direction. At the same time, it wasn't like, oh, you're going to be, you know, the X best star. It's just, you need to try and do your best. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
Yeah, having that external belief as well was good. Definitely. Jennifer was my main coach for, I'd say, a rough 6 years. And, yeah, she got me to the point where she was doing her own master's in biomechanics. And I was like 16, 17, and she was teaching me what she knew, and why we were doing this. And that's, I think, when things started to click, when you know a why we're doing this, then we understand, oh, okay, there's a reason. There's actually, I'm not just jumping up and down for no reason here. You know? So,
was it why to be better? Was it why because I want to represent to be the country and then the best in the world?
Oh goodness. I think best for yourself. I think for myself, I had the realistic expectation of where I could get to national level and maybe international level on the right timing of things. But to be realistic, it was like if you were going to bloom and blossom, you would have kind of done so by now, kind of thing. And I kind of accepted that fact. And I thought, well, I started looking at the top and thinking, like, even then, you have the likes of Galen Rupp in the American kind of cross-country scene, like top 4 in the world, and he was on like housing welfare and like struggling to live. So it's only the super elite to really make a
less than 1% type of thing.
Yeah, 100%. So like, how much effort can I put somewhere else get and reap the same benefits? Literally any other sport.
So what was missing then? Because this is where I want to go with the talent lock and what wasn't available then. What was missing, or was there, like, first of all, was there anything missing? And if so, what was that for you in your journey?
I think a proper, like, the Irish athletics, not to discredit them and to, I would say, talk down on them. They do a great job, but I think their resourcing isn't spread properly. You know what I mean? So there's nothing apart from the coaches in that area of each county that can actually draw talent. There's no actual, that I'm aware of, you know.
You mean organizational structure?
Yeah. So like, let's say they do boot camps and things, but like, let's say the camp is 3 hours away. For most parents, you're not going to do that. You're not going to drive 2.5 hours, 3 hours, you know? So I think at a grassroots level, like you guys want to talk about, is there wasn't really like a set foundation for, oh, if you want to progress, you should go to this camp. Or if you want to progress, you can do X, Y, Z with us. And, you know what I mean? So,
So hold that thought, because there are support mechanisms now coming in with Talent Locker, and obviously there's a big part of it. So like, it's born bred from Australia, and now it's growing, it's evolving, it's very fastly growing around like globally. There's so many more connections globally now. Talent Locker, what was it that Talent Locker identifies that this is where young athletes need the support in order to develop and grow?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think to Ross's point and going through what he was talking about, look, athletics clubs, academies across the globe, whatever, they start with good intent. And they still have good intent at the end, but it has to somewhere point turn into a business.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm sending my young Ross going, yeah, he's got the goods, and I'm going to send him over to another pirate island. I'm going to lose this kid. So I need to keep him in the system as long as I can, because if his times are getting better and better, it's also good PR for my athletics club. And now we use him as the poster boy. Train here, get fast like him. But if I'm smart, I go train here, get fast like him, to then send him into national representative or what, like it's all stemming from this club. But I wasn't giving him the opportunity to do that, because I don't want to lose him, because he's fast in our club and we're going to keep winning for those medals that sit in the local hall and
the shelf on the table.
Right, like I get it. I understand that side of it. But if you look long term and, you know, if we're getting him more opportunities as a club, there's going to be a lineup of young kids behind him going, we can be like Ross and get to the point. So to your question is where Talent Locker identifies this. Again, being a company that sees the good that the communities are doing, maybe they're not there in their head because they're thinking small town. Well, let's go bigger picture. If we can get 5 athletes here from this system into a national program, you guys, I promise you, will benefit because it's your programming that's making these kids faster, right? We're not in a place right now where programming is globally spread and everyone's doing the same thing. Coaches are still using their experience to make children faster, get them into some sort of structure and then discipline. But that's down to the good coaching and connections. And that's not at every club. Not every club has these people. You have special people in pockets of the communities that are doing this. But thinking long term, I'd be like, okay, let's do our best to get these kids opportunities because it's going to look better for our brand as an athletics club. And that's why Talent Locker exists. We'll come to the athletics club and go, yeah, you've got something good. You've got the good characters. You're building good ethics. Let us take you on this journey and promote you.
Yeah.
And, you know, through us, get these opportunities because it's going to look good. And that's where our partnership program exists because we will go out, we'll identify, we understand. We want to try to help everybody. We can't help everybody. Everybody needs a standard to be to be setting. So when you're at that standard, then we'll let's have a chat.
This is what I like about the first part. Like, you first look at Talent Locker and you see the application, and there's statistics, or there's a profile being built for each athlete, and with the cameras and to be able to get analytics, deeper analytics about performance wise, which is that's where I see that. Like you talk about support, so that's great. So there's analytics data as an athlete. Also, you can say like, okay, great, I can now statistically show a scout or show a club or show a federation or a federation, a club, and all those levels can see now, okay, these are our athletes, let's say for the club to start with, this is who maybe will stand out. The next one is that organizational, that regional federation and that national federation to the international federation and development, and be able to take those same details or the same stats and continue that journey from wherever you go. Because coming back to your point, and actually Nigel's as well, because the business, ultimately at the end of the day, sports grow because of business, because you sell tickets to events or people want to get involved, so they pay for their memberships, and the only way a sport grows, and that's why I think federations get really stuck, is being able to prove success. Like if I'm going to put the medals up, okay, you're winning, success breeds success, it brings top players or top athletes, but you also need to commercialize that as well, and that's where federations get stuck because there's maybe not enough spectators, and that's a completely different story. But right now, when it comes to athletes trying to develop themselves, having stats to start off with, now there's Talent Locker that's providing that, and then be able to turn that to commercial or business, or even as a brand, as an individual. I mean, this isn't something that I take it from straight away that wasn't there before. The thought of, hey, I'm only represent a national representative or local representative. How do I monetize this so that it can support at least my training? How do I get some kind of sponsorship of? Is it nutrition? Is it gear? Is it clothing and apparel? Or is it just awareness out there? Because that's missing, or was missing, or was so hard to come by. Like, hey, can you support me because I want to become the best in the nation? But it's like, yeah, who are you? You know, unless you've already won it, then nobody cares.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like
There's
something
a good
like
example of that right now happening in Australia. This young kid, Gout,
Oh my
Gout,
goodness.
17-year-old freaking just fastest 200, was it?
Mate, he's breaking every single goddamn record.
1983.
Yeah, right. Like, so he's going to be a good example of what Australia as a nation do with this kid. Does Athletics Australia get involved and go, we're going to keep him and basically block him from being a superstar internationally unless he's representing Australia? Then he's not representing.
Yeah.
This will be very interesting because
Happened in New Zealand about 2 years ago.
Yes.
Is it Nikita the guy
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
couldn't go to the Commonwealth,
yeah.
couldn't go to the Olympics?
right now, World Athletics,
New Zealand.
he could go and represent and be in the Grand Prix in World Athletics and make an absolute killing right now because globally, the story's great. Immigrant, Australian, great narrative. 16.
Yeah.
Sponsors.
There's eyes on him. far
Sponsors
out.
would be all over this
Yeah.
kid. He'd make a big living. So let's see. I've already spoke about this in our personal matters, is that when countries get involved and go, right, well, unless he's representing us, he's not representing. So,
Yeah.
and if he does go outside, we're going to basically ruin him inside this country and go, well, you know, this is the journey. And I'm Australian. I don't want to talk down on our country, but we're good at chopping the legs from anyone that doesn't.
Well, New Zealand's would beat you to the punch, bro. We already proved that.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just take a great athlete and just kill their career.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is where like solo athletes need to start to, and this is something Talent Lock can help do, is that the awareness of building your own brand IP. It's more powerful to do this because then you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
But if you're relying on a federation to get you somewhere, and unless they unlock the pathway, then good luck, man. Because then you've got then you're controlled.
Well, okay, let's be honest, because then, well, I've been honest about this. You are on your own. And Ross, you'll be able to attest to this as well. Like, yeah, you're great as long as you're winning, but as soon as you start losing,
See you later.
someone else coming in your place. And I used to stand over there at the front of the line, and I used to get all the attention type of thing. I'm sure we've actually all gone through. I've gone through this as well. But and you still go through this no matter what level you're at. So then, when it comes back to you're saying, where's the support? What do you think you can offer as far as supporting so that doesn't happen as an individual? Because that's right. The stats on Talent Lock is a big thing, and the analytics about for an athlete as an individual to develop themselves first.
Right.
That's what like.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't have to be a regional or a national representative.
Sure.
You could do this as I'm not a rep, and I could
Absolutely.
Take
Look,
Lock
once in a lifetime talent like this Gout kid, right? That won't come around very often. It won't. Where if Ross back in the day was collecting his data and had something to then benchmark himself at, he can see world times. If these kids are very good, then they'll be able to chase that. But how much of the gap is there, right? Like, who's chasing Gout right now? You may as well get the
7 other athletes on the track.
You may as well get the other 9 guys who are running in that. Go, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Literally.
Like, let's just stop now because what are we competing for the rest of our lives for second and third?
Yeah,
right?
That
literally.
actually happened to me at a Leinster level. There was one guy, David Murphy, every single race. He was national champion multiple years throughout my underage career. Every single year he'd be first in Ireland. And at Leinster's, it'd be us top 2. And every single race I just knew. No, I don't know. I wouldn't try to beat him, of course, but just talent-wise, he was better. And second place.
Yeah.
And it does slowly get in there a little bit. You know what I mean? So
Defeat before the actual start line type of thing.
it's not like that. It's kind of like, oh, this bastard's here again. You know what I mean? He's not even sick, never sick. You know.
But here's the caveat to that. When you ask about data and how important and why it's important in sport. Now, with that kind of mentality as a solo sport, you're like, I'm quick, but I'm just not going to ever catch
Not David
that guy,
Quick yet,
right?
or not Gout.
Exactly. I'm just not going to be there. It's always going to be in the back of my head. But with data and analytics being put out that a federation or a club, maybe he goes, you know what? I've never thought about exploring my rugby career again, but maybe clubs are open to this data and going, you know what? This Ross kid is quick. He'd be a great winger. Let's get him in. Look at American Sevens did it. USA Sevens did it.
Carla Niles.
Yeah, right. The England team did it, right? With, what's his name? Baker?
Baker.
Yeah. Ex-Olympic sprinter. They sat him out in the wing. The guy just went, try. No one could catch him. It's actually unfair, but smart. They read the data. They said this kid, if we can teach him how to step off his left and right, we've got it.
Happens at all sevens. I mean, you watch women's sevens, is because they got one woman
Yeah.
that just runs super fast, it's fast, not even
But
agile.
there's the pathway. It went from athletics to then a contact sport. You just teach them anyone can be taught anything, but there's a baseline there. And that is where data is important. As a talent ID program, if you can go, these basketballers, female basketballers are great, and she's decent at a level, but then we can go, you know what? There's space in the netball squads, and we're going to go into the Premier League, Super League, whatever it is, invite that girl. We can change her style, adapt to netball, right? And now she's playing top level in maybe Malaysia and getting paid a mint because she was a world-class athlete based on her data from basketball.
Are you breaking that down that much?
Absolutely.
So you can go, okay, I was a track, now I'm going to go rugby.
Absolutely.
And you can take those bits out?
Yeah, but someone's got to set this.
That's a good point.
Someone's got to set this is why we're looking at federations saying, what do you want to see? The federation is a federation for a reason, but do you understand, or are you putting out what you want to see from your bottom line athletes, grassroots level? From what we know, it's all hidden. Certain people have access to this data. So then how do your smaller athletics clubs go, our structure and programming is based on that. This is what us as a club can work towards. This is why I believe, and I'm very strong about saying this, is that every federation must mandate at a level where they're saying schools must adhere to these sets of standards. Now, your PE departments, your school kids from 6-year-old have something in a PE class to work towards. All 6-year-olds to 8-year-olds must be at this benchmark. Simple. Then your Olympic programs become full and rich of young talent that they get through that top 20%. Then you give the federations a headache. You go, we've got too many to pick from now. That's the best position.
Which is what you want to be. Exactly.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, totally. But it's direction though. So like if I'm a young one, I've got no idea what's going on. I need to be this strong or this quick or this agile or this whatever.
A little bit like China a little bit now.
Yes, exactly. No. But you know what? People, we all grew up going, they're too strict on their protocols. And guess what, man? Every Olympics, they're the ones who are collecting all the medals and everyone's like, but they got it down.
What was that move? Moneyball?
Moneyball,
They changed the way of sports,
Correct.
the analytics and data and stuff.
We get compared to that movie so much when I'm talking. I'm like, Moneyball. I'm like, well, it's based on data, right?
Yeah.
We can all say we're
speak,
fast.
though. That's the thing. That's
Exactly.
people go like, they guess otherwise. And that's like the biggest difference.
Imagine regionally, schools could go, right, let's take the UAE. Here in Dubai, you've got X amount of schools and all of them are put into a dashboard or a ranking system for their, let's say, 100-meter sprint, right? And you've got the top 150 athletes pulling times between this and this. And then Abu Dhabi, and then every emirate has theirs. The federation look at this and go, how do we pick?
Utilize it, yeah.
Then you go into combine. Then you go into these become reality. That top 150 are the only ones invited to the combine. And from combine, you still need scouts, you still need coaches, character analysis. Cameras and technology can't do this as yet. You still need human touch. This makes it, you funnel this in and take the top 50 out of that 150. Based on the day they turn up, if they're good to go, you take them. Or if not, at least you've got 12 months of history data showing consistency. This is what Talent Locker can do and is doing. Giving the consistent, broken down data to say, even if that kid shows up, there was a passing in the family, he or she's head's not in it, then at least
that one moment's not going to ruin
the one moment doesn't ruin it. You didn't miss out.
I was just like, because that same stuff, if you think about, because now you do the personal training physio side of it too, how much beneficial would that be to understand the background from if it's injury, if it's rehab and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, so many people love to say, it's a lot of middle-aged men who love to say, I was at this level. They love to, you know what I mean? Everyone likes to.
Have you heard our conversation? That's what I mean. This bloke.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Watch
But
yourself.
to actually be able to have a tangible background on a person like that would be great to actually see, these are what you were achieving, and look at your depreciation over your time, your lifespan would be amazing. I think longevity is one kind of thing I really try to do in my training is, full range of motion, mobility side of things, not just people want strength and look good. You know what I mean? You have to be able to move good too. But yeah, if it was something like that where it reached like that global kind of recognition I'm sure you're striving for, and people became more aware and more kind of in tune with how their process is or how their training or whatever it is they're doing is, yeah, of course it's going to be beneficial.
One thing, sorry to cut you off, is that one thing I do applaud you on is that I see a lot of the training that you do. We work off, same gym, see him with his clients. He adapts a lot of that mobility in his general population client. It's so important because right now in the industry, you see a lot of fat loss, weight loss, and that's all it is, right? But he's making them and giving them the adaptation of going, right, you're in your mid-20s, 30s, 40s. Let's get you moving better. That is so key. And then the rest of it will adapt, right?
Was it prevention over cure?
Absolutely. And you do it well, man. So, I commend you on that. So,
okay, so let's
go. Approval.
Got excited there for a second. When you talk about now, opportunities. So, for viewers, listeners, what do they need to do? Like, I'd love to give them that from both perspectives, from a talent perspective, from an ex-athlete's perspective, from a representative perspective. What do people need to do today? I mean, mindset, you can talk about mindset, physicality, connections, networking, social media. Where's the keys to unlocking your potential to be successful? What's going to give you the best success in your guys' opinions?
I think, look, starting with Talent Locker is the reason why we've, invested so heavily on our own app, our own, data, our own network is anyone can download the app, Talent Locker app, and they can create a profile. But then the journey starts once that profile is created. Let's touch on education pathways for young athletes across the globe. ASM Sports, our educational sports provider through education in USA. It's owned by Ernie Els, who is a very, very well-known golfer, successful, and his team in America are just on point. And obviously knowing American sports, college sports, high school sports, they are the pinnacle of where everybody else wants to get to, right? They do it very well. Now, ASM, what they are able to provide is to parents saying, right, scholarships aren't just based on how good your kid is at sport. They have to still have some sort of talent, but are they academically sound? Are they athletically sound? And if those are the points that we're meeting, then mum and dad, we can offer you a pathway into several US college systems based on what the parents need. A lot of parents don't know this. Now, with our short time, with our partnership with ASM in the UAE, we've signed up 1,000 athletes in 3 months and successfully moved out of that 1,000, 12 onto scholarship. That's pretty good.
Yeah, awesome.
Sign-ups are easy to get because it's interest. But to move 12 from the UAE into their next phase of life into US college systems based on the back of the sports they play. If we're looking at rugby, football, swimming's huge. Golf is another one, huge. Parents just didn't know this was available. And I get it. It's the opportunity, right? And now, guess what? Your child is gaining a pathway of development through sport. First and foremost, all right? That's very...
But there's safety there too. Like, so for one, from their perspective, from ASM's perspective, is they're getting data to start with, so making more informed decisions. And the second side of it, if you're getting a scholarship and it is about the other characters, so academic, like you're going to a university, there is an educational side of this. And I think the safety aspect there is that as an athlete, okay, my priority is to become great at my sport, but if that does not work out, what do I fall back on? I think that makes it safer and for the...
Correct.
Was it that around for you? But did you just jump straight in without the safety net, or what did you have, or what was the thought?
No. There's no safety net. You just have to keep running fast and keep getting the scholarship. That was it.
Yeah. Was the scholarship academic? Though you had to maintain a certain...
you have to maintain a certain standard.
Grade, yeah.
So you have to get at least like national medal or a certain set time, right?
But what about educational or academically, like maths or geography or something else like that? Did you have to? Oh,
you had to maintain your grades, of course. You couldn't be failing, but in that sense, but like,
what was maintaining that then? Sorry, just more specifically, like
I'm trying to think now. I think it was like
I don't know what the education assessment is like at the
honor
moment.
Standard. I think it was like minimum was 2.2 standard, if I'm pretty sure.
Is it like an average or above average or in your class or comparison? Or?
Oh goodness, I would say.
Did you pass yours, brother?
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I would say average. I would say probably average. I'm not sure what the average of my class was graduating, but I think most graduated with honors, and most were involved athletically anyway, whether through Gaelic or other forms of athletics like discus. There was one very good European girl, Nee Fogarty, very 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 good talent, and she's still doing it now at a European level.
Oh wow.
What was that? Like, just quickly on that, because I'm pretty sure, like they always say, you got to maintain a minimum standing grade. So, what was the punishment? Like, was it being first of all, was it being enforced? Like, say, because I know like a lot of coaches would be like, oh yeah, but I need them on the team because this match, this or this event or this whatever's going ahead. So, don't tell anyone else. Get you on anyway, even though you're failing your academic side of things.
Well, I think if you're failing, you have to repeat. So you're going to be. It just makes life harder, and nobody wants that stress when you're trying to maintain everything else. So the resources they provided were free tutoring if you wanted it. So you could do extra if you wanted that extra help.
Covered by the college.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, awesome.
And then you have your own kind of nutritionist, physio, and there's a small amount of funding and things you could apply for as well. But for the most part, it was just keep running fast and keep the head in the books.
What was the day to day then? Was it like you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning? You got to be at training at 5:05, and you got to do the X amount of 2 hours.
Experience
I
in college?
yeah, I don't know.
Oh Jesus!
Well, let's not go too deep in this, by the way. Let's keep it professional.
Yeah. Of course. No. So I didn't have the privilege of not working, so I was working full time through college, from first year all the way to fourth year. So weekends were literally. At one point, I was waking up 5 a.m. Pitch black, raining, you know what I mean, getting my track session done, going to work for 8 o'clock in the morning in Dunn Stores in town, doing a 12-hour shift, coming home, eating, sleeping, rinse, repeat the weekend, and go back into college training schedule, you know. So,
For how long?
that was for a stunt of maybe 8 months. That was my first year and a half of college, basically, or semester, I should say. And then from there, I got a slightly better job. Time management wise, so you can manage yourself, you know, and your stress and your outputs. But going back to your original question of what parents should do in terms of getting their children to that point or getting their children on the right pathway. From my opinion, I would say as a parent, if you have a young child now, the two main sports I would probably, what I plan on doing for my child in the future, probably gymnastics and athletics, just the key kind of locomotion movements across all the board. Yes, you have to have a drive or a want or a curiosity in some kind of sport, but that will come later. And I think...
Does it?
I think so, yeah.
Did it? I should say, did it?
Well, yeah, like I always considered, like, what if I actually put my head down in some football? Like, if I got the same level of football, now it's a bigger pool of athletes there too, but the reward is still so much better. You know what I mean? Like, if you get to national standard in Ireland, you get like the average salary of like €40,000 a year playing football. You know what I mean? That's not bad.
But you got to have someone who can see that too. Like he can have the belief, that's great, but then advisory to come over and say, yeah, actually, we could do something here.
Yeah, got to tell him we could take it from there.
Because otherwise, how does he find that option? He's not going to just walk. I mean, he could knock around with the local football club, but how far will they get you? Based on talent, just based on visual talent, we can see that this kid's got something good. Let's expedite him and see if he trains with the third division team at that level. Can he keep up? You need to throw him in the deep end.
Were you tested like that? Like, okay, now, okay, this is your age group, but then, okay, you just race against the adult type of thing.
Yeah. So we, my original coach, Pat, he would do that all the time with me and my brother. So we would be like, 14, 15, and we'd be running in the under 20s, like 18 and 19-year-olds. So you'd come last, but like, how last do you want to be? Do you know what I mean? So, and he wouldn't care. He just wanted us to be running faster and pushing against a faster group.
How did it affect you? Because that's always a thing. Like, for some people, it's fight or flight, right? Some people, they would just diminishing and be like, oh, well, I'm never going to be fast. Look how much faster they are.
Yeah. So my brother, he stopped, I continued. So.
Oh, really? There you go.
Yeah, and
wow.
he was naturally always faster, always stronger, but was a little bit more closed-minded when it came to that. And I think, not that it shut him down, but like that, he just looked at it as like, oh, I'm no longer like the big fish, small pond. I'm now in realization of there are faster people than me, and there always will be someone faster. Do you know what I mean? He's like, I'm done now.
Far out.
You know,
That's
so
crazy.
I think it's up to that athlete, and I think it's up to how that athlete has developed all the way up to that point, and at what point the coach should take that step. You know what I mean? Once the foundation is there, that self-belief, that ego is established, then you kind of push him in.
What's missing for you then as an athlete? Like when you look, obviously you've gone through this thing. So when you look at other athletes, if it's in athletics, if it's in rugby or other sports or something, what's missing for you of why not enough people are becoming successful, or why enough people are not getting the opportunities?
In terms of just from where I came from, what I would prefer to have happened, kind of, or
Today's so if someone's listening right now and goes like, man, that sounds really cool, I want to get in that, but how come I can't do it? Or what would like Talent Locker is obviously making a big difference by providing analytics, data, statistics. There's connections now with ASM and other parts of the world. There's netball that's over here as well. So they're opening the eyes to people of the opportunities are available to get the scholarship, to get education on the other part, to get experience on the other side of the world, right? Do you think is there something missing? I mean, I'm pretty sure there is.
Oh, 100%. I would say, well, if you're talking data, I would say if you're looking at kinematics, so how your body moves, and you can look at all your different angles, see what's optimized, you can quickly tell if you're moving efficiently or not. That'd be like the first step. Now, obviously, that's more expensive. I would say most colleges, I'm sure, I know we do it back in Ireland. I'm sure it's accessible to most people. For a budget, I'd say like €200-300. You know what I mean? Once you look at your kinematics, then you can start with the coach correcting. You know, that'd be the base level I would try to do. Like obviously a coach will do that by a side, but again, trying to make that athlete understand and have that kinesthetic awareness of knowing where your body should be in relation to where you are in that phase or in that sport, and that's going to be the key kind of separator of, it actually is, it's been shown in studies, the key separator of top talent and kind of average talent is knowing where you should be. You know what I mean? So, or I guess relation of your body to where you should be.
How does there's profiles on Talent Locker, right? So, I mean, is it video, photos? All of it.
Media, yeah.
So then funding's a massive part of this. As an athlete, as a club, as a federation, an organization, an international body, funding. We come back down, we talk about it's a business. I mean, if a sport's going to grow, you need money, right? As an athlete, if you're going to be good at something, you need money. Money for time, money for travel. I mean, the basics. There's never mind talking about high performance type of thing. And if you want to excel, you're going to have to find coaches to help you out with your nutrition, your sprinting, whatever else, strength training, yada, yada. There's a lot of money involved to be good at that. And there's opportunities it's the whole, I'm not going to make this, I'm not rich unless I'm so good. Someone with money is like, oh, you're going to make us look good. They're going to pay for you. I think Mike would probably touch on this. You should probably touch on this first. Is that how in the world does someone get their recognition? How do they get the financial backing if they don't have money? Because if you got money, it's fine. But I mean, if you don't have the funding,
I think this is just my opinion, is that there is going to be more of that than there is going to be kids or athletes that are found and given opportunities. There's always going to be the hungry ones that don't have opportunity based on they weren't found, right?
Imagine how many unseen athletes there, like
unbelievable. But to that, in 2025, where we didn't have it in the 80s or 90s, was social media. Yeah. Now, every athlete in the world, doesn't matter if you belong to a team or you're a solo athlete, must really start to get their head around building a personal IP. That is marketable. No one's going to ever throw money at you just based on speed. If you're a dead shit and you can't be marketed, who cares?
Yeah.
But if you're putting this stuff out, you're training, and all of a sudden, let's say like a Gout is emerging, this kid is super quick. And I'd love to speak to people who know about this kid back home, because I guarantee, I put all the money on the world, there is a lineup of sponsors wanting to go after him, and management is like, we can't, or we won't, or whatever, for whatever reason, right? We know this because we help with some of the combat athletes in Australia, and it's not until they started to win world titles is that when big key sponsors deals want to come through, which I understand. So it is a journey, but also on the back of that, we were very vocal in saying, unless you get your head around in building that athlete's IP and their brand and who setting a narrative. What's the narrative? Yeah, they can fight or they can run, but what's the narrative? Give me a story as a consumer to believe in and something that I want to follow. And then if I'm following that and I see him with a Red Bull shirt on next week, then great. Good for him.
It's the mind.
Then sell me that story about how Red Bull came knocking on his door and want to invest. That's a great story.
Yeah. Well, then, so what would be let's just opinion, by the way, gosh.
Yeah.
Awareness is huge. Social media is available type of thing. And I don't think, again, I can't really speak. Oh, actually, no, I can. Like, I've been in positions where I haven't taken advantage of the exposure. So on competitions, I've been part of representative teams and stuff like that before. But it was just like, I was just focused on the sport. I don't know, same things happen to you guys. And I didn't give a damn or shit about social media. I was like, I want to play. I want to get better at that. I want to go train, and then people get shit on because, you taking your phone out and you're just, your workouts of training. Who wants to watch that? Like, or sometimes I had the mentality of like, no one wants to see me do training. But the reality is, people do want to see you do training. And if you want to get awareness or growth or proof of the work ethic, like you just referred to, or what I'm actually doing, what it takes to get there, that's what I think is marketable, even from a local.
Oh, for sure.
Because, like, I think people don't think, but I'm not going to get that big Nike deal. But it's not about the Nike deal. There's new brands starting up of apparel that you start with them. The Grant, Grant wear or some stupid shit like that that's just been launched, and they're trying to get their brand out there.
Yeah.
Well, there's, it's not about being the best yet. It's about developing
for sure.
Out that way. Would be some advice that you guys would give?
Look, I think setting unfortunately we're in a time.
Because you do a lot of social media. You're skipping and stuff like that, but it's awareness.
And that was in a building phase of my career, right? And this is twofold, right? Because he is coming up in a career that is way harder than we came up in, right? Way, way harder. Like, if me and you were to get into it today, shit, man, like, I'd be like, I don't know how long I'm going to last. Thankfully, when we came up in that certain industry, it was based on not how much you know, but what kind of person you are, the connection. This lot, unfortunately, this lot, unfortunately, we see it. In the gym, every trainer has a tripod, and I'm like, bruh, like, in my head, I'm like, who cares? Do you think you're going to post it? No one cares. And I still have that opinion. Why? Different story if your tripod is there and you're training a client in that frame, you're showing the public what you do for your clients, what you can do for your next lot of clients. Do I care how much you can squat and stuff? Sometimes it's ego and you got to promote yourself, self-promote. I get it. But to have your whole Instagram feed based on, I'm the trainer, look at me, look at my muscles, that's shit. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong about it. I would rather see what you've done for your clients. And even if it's you working in that frame with them, great. Because now I see people trust you. Now I see people are investing their money to work with you. It gives me some sort of confidence to then go and spend with you, right? That's what again, opinion-based only. So then in where you're coming up, it's based on when we were building our profiles and who we were, it was based on what we were doing for the community, and how much trust does the community have in me or him? And that's why we built relatively decent, strong IPs. They weren't built off our names. They were built off everybody else having trust. That's simple for me. Now, what your question was, your original question, what can people do? I think in the athletic field, let's talk sports and forget like trainers, sports, kids, etc. They can start to show the narrative of how hard it is, right? I think for me to believe in something, I need to be invested in your journey. I like to see from, and it doesn't take the next 6 months. This could be the next 4 years.
Yeah.
But guess what? We saw the progress from when I remember, bro, when you were posting down at Motor City at athletic track down there, and you put your training videos. And now, man, you're
Had
on the,
no shoes.
yeah. But now you're in Europe in the Grand Prix, and that's huge. That's what we remember. We remember the narrative. We remember the journey. And I was invested because you're a good
Massively.
kid,
Yeah.
and you're telling the truths. And you're like, like you said, like imagine you had a camera available when you were you're getting up at 5 a.m., going to track in the dark, pissing rain, and then going doing a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
Like, this kid wants it. And you know what? I want to. If I'm even the local real estate agent, we've got €1,000 to give this kid just to get his cleats and whatnot. I'm going to give it to. There's his first sponsor.
The other thing too is it's not necessarily about it's. There's a bit of people I don't think understand that too. By showing the story exactly what you just said, let's say it comes from a realtor, but the realtor might be like, yes, okay, it's because I see the work ethic in there, or it could be like, oh man, I have a son. I want him to follow you, so that's why they support you, or my business will support you because,
Correct.
like you just talked about the community, the trust that they have in this. Oh, I want to be associated with someone who's got, first of all, it's not just, okay, he's skilled, but there's how many brand deals are lost because of some stupid idiotic thing on, actually there's the Caitlin Clark whole basketball and the Angel Reese or whatever, and then Angel Reese's stocks are going down because of just bad sportsmanship, right? It's the same thing. Like brands want to rub themselves against athletes that have this characteristic, this ability, this mindset to get out there and to do that.
Well, let me ask you both a question and answer this honestly. You both come from training backgrounds. You've both been coaches. You're currently a coach. Who is your clientele? It's not like, is it your friends?
No.
Is it your friends supporting your business? It's strangers.
Complete strangers.
Right? Why I ask that is because you've put somewhere out there in the world the energy that you have a duty of care to people that you don't know. And that's why they're in return going, I want to work with this guy, because it's not just bias. It's not just he cares about me if I've got money. He cares about my well-being flatline. That's why I put my trust and money into Ross, Grant, whatever it is, right?
That's so funny. Cause it's funny because you just said because family don't see the value in you because they've been around you all the time. It's just like expectation. That's
Absolutely.
just normal.
Yeah,
but strangers, they'll go like, man, look how much information or how much whatever they got. That's
Absolutely.
why they see
and this
value.
wealth of knowledge, for us at least, and you're getting there, it's coming over 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So in business, I'll say in business, when we're talking, we're asking an investor to believe in our product, this is the passion. This is not, we're here to quickly sell the cameras and a solution. No, this is passion. We know what we can deliver. We know we're good at it. But please believe me when I say that there's going to be an outcome and a deliverable on the other side that's done with complete passion and love for what we do. We've not just been employed by companies to go, here, guys, go and sell a tech solution. No, we developed that tech solution. 28 years of coaching has led me to this seat going, this is what coaches like him and athletic companies and rugby academies, grassroots level need to develop in the future. Simple as that. It comes with experience.
I don't find that. Well,
Yeah.
We've got to wrap up quickly in a second, but I do want to ask that based on what Nigel's just said too.
Yeah.
The value, it's like you as an athlete, the value to you as to the club. Like that's where they keep you around. This is when they want to put more time in. This is where the attention comes to you because like, oh yeah, winning. Oh yeah, we better keep this guy around here because we look good, type of thing like that.
Yeah.
If you got someone fresh, let's say they're a 10-year-old, they want to get into sprinting as well. They want to do that. You're their mentor. Okay.
I am the mentor.
You're the mentor, mate.
Power.
What are the traits, let's say the top 2 traits that you want to instill into this young athlete?
I would say,
Or how would you apply these traits, by the way?
okay, so obviously you have to look at a kind of, every athlete is different, and some traits will be more prevalent than others. Their socioeconomic background is going to play a huge factor too. Like for me, a driving force was not having enough and having the want to get more. and to get that scholarship and to put myself into a better position.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of leverage. So this is like a arbitrary answer now. It's not very specific, but
I'll get there, mate. I'll get you there. Don't worry.
you have to leverage what you see in that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll need that more disciplinarian approach of you can do better, and again, not putting them down, but letting them know like it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see some people respond hugely with that, and they'll go 10 times harder in training.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example was actually one of my friends at the time. He had just came second at I think it was a National League final in the 400, and the guy who beat him by like 200 of a second, and it was his second best time all time.
Wow.
And our coach Jennifer said to him, "Chris, you should have came first." no congratulations, no nothing. Pissed him off hugely, you know what I mean? But it stood to him, because the next time he met that guy on the track, dust. See you later, you know what I mean?
That's always a sign of a good coach, though, because if you do this the wrong person, you've crushed them.
Yeah, it cripples them. But I think that the main two traits that I personally would want in an athlete is probably self-discipline and just self-discipline, and I guess it kind of ties into resiliency, because setbacks are what kind of make or break people.
Mm-hmm.
Having a setback and being able to just, it's okay, keep going.
I had the Rocky speech going through my head. It's
Yeah.
not how many times you fall, it's how you get back up.
Absolutely, it's the hunger, it's the want, it's the desire, it's what's in down here, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, very cliche that you say that about Rocky, but that whole little part that he says in that movie is that it's what burns in here for everyone. It doesn't matter if it's as a sports or it's business. Like, you got to get up with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again, probably just not our global audience may not understand this, but I will use the NRL and a certain club in Western Sydney, Penrith Panthers, and their juniors, the Penrith juniors, are now considered the best outfit in their stable of upcoming athletes. And I can only put it down to one thing, is the desire, because of social economic circumstances in the West, they have one get out. If we make it as a rugby league player, we may make it in life.
Yeah.
That sucks to say, but
it's truth, right?
That's the drive. And Penrith, for the last 3 years in a row, have been the champions of the NRL. And you see it.
Yeah.
You see it based on it. That's all their junior development coming through into first grade. I mean, Ireland's got the same. New Zealand's got the same with the rugby, right? Like, it's want. Right? Like, what are you going to get how much are you going to work to get yourself out of this, right? So
it's a real, we're going to have to think around there, but we'll have to carry this story on a little bit later on as far as another episode. We'll talk more about it and go more in depth about it. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Let's go into, where can they find you, bro?
Talentlocker.com, talentlocker.com, download the app, get going, take your careers into your own hands, and obviously, this is what we've built it for. Create your development pathways for the future, and do it through us.
For myself, it is going to be my new starting company. So when this gets released, I'll have this established. Ace Fitness Therapy on Instagram, and it'll be acefitnesstherapy.com. If you want to contact me, get into some training, whether it's just a consultation or somewhat self-improvement, But yeah, I prefer performance, but fat loss, coaching, that kind of dynamic, I'm all for it.
Tick. Every day, man. Every day. All right, guys. Put some comments in the comment section. Let us know what you want more information about us when it comes to athlete development, athlete growth, athlete pathways. Can reach out to these guys and pick their brains as well. But we're going to come back to you definitely with many more episodes on this, because it is a deep dive is required. And I know there's so many people out there that want to, and we were just about to touch on it, and I just had to bite my tongue on it, because it's the opportunity. It's a change of life. Like, if you want, as an athlete, discipline, consistency, persistence, belief, breaking the barriers, if you want a better way in life, then as an athlete, there's a pathway to go through representative, to go through scholarships. There's a pathway. It's not just about the physical. It's about management. It's about coaching. It's about delivering for people further than that. So yeah, before I go blah 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 ramble on too much further, but that's the truth. Obviously, thank you, gents. It's
Thank
freaking
you so
awesome.
much.
Appreciate the banter. So
FFP.
let's
Look
go,
them up.
you
Let's
me.
go.